In the year 1980, the city of Tulsa in Oklahoma was home to a man named Tommy Glenn Carmichael, a 35-year-old individual whose life was defined by a pervasive sense of financial stagnation and unfulfilled potential. He was a high school dropout who made his living working with his hands, splitting his time between repairing televisions and working as a locksmith. Yet despite his technical aptitude, he struggled to make ends meet. His annual income hovered around $18,000, a sum that barely supported his life in a small apartment shared with his wife and 2 children. Carmichael possessed a natural gift for mechanics, the kind of intuitive understanding that allowed him to fix a broken lock in 5 minutes, or diagnose a faulty capacitor in a television set in 10. But this talent had not translated into the American dream he had hoped for. Instead, he found himself constantly broke, with bills piling up, his car in desperate need of repairs, and the cost of basic necessities like shoes for his children weighing heavily on his mind. The trajectory of his life changed fundamentally when a friend named Ray approached him with a proposition that would leverage his specific skill set in a way he had never considered. Ray asked if Carmichael had ever been to Las Vegas, to which Carmichael replied that he could not afford such a trip, prompting Ray to reveal that he had a method for making money there. Ray explained that slot machines were ultimately mechanical devices composed of moving parts, sensors, and switches, and he argued that if one truly understood the mechanics of these machines, they could be manipulated. Ray claimed to have been exploiting this fact for 6 months, earning $40,000 in the process. But he needed a partner who understood locks and could build precision tools. To demonstrate his point, Ray showed Carmichael a crude device that looked like nothing more than a bent piece of metal attached to a wire, a tool he called a slider. The concept was relatively simple, in that the slider was inserted into the coin slot to block the coin counter, effectively tricking the machine into believing it was receiving quarters when it was not. Although the legality of the operation was questionable, Ray insisted that it was only illegal if they were caught, and assured Carmichael that they would be smart about it by hitting different casinos, keeping their winnings small, and blending in as lucky tourists. Faced with a bank account that was overdrawn by $247 and credit cards that were maxed out, Carmichael asked to be shown how the device worked. 2 weeks later, the pair drove to Las Vegas, arriving in February of 1980 to test their luck and their nerve at the Fremont Casino in the downtown district. As Carmichael walked onto the casino floor, his heart pounded and his hands sweated, marking the physical manifestation of his anxiety as a man who had never stolen anything in his life. Ray, by contrast, walked ahead with the casual relaxation of someone who had done this before, leading them to a row of older, mechanical slot machines from the 1970s that served as their perfect targets. Carmichael watched from a few machines away as Ray sat down, inserted a quarter, and then slipped the thin, almost invisible metal slider into the coin slot. Ray pulled the lever, and after 2 losing spins, the third pull resulted in 3 cherries, causing the machine to dump 20 quarters into the tray. Ray continued this process for 10 minutes, eventually cashing out with $200 in quarters from an initial investment of just $1, all without triggering any alarms or drawing the attention of security. It was then Carmichael's turn to attempt the feat, and although his hands shook, he managed to slide the tool, which was disguised as a car key, into the slot. He felt the metal catch on the internal mechanism exactly as Ray had described, and when he pulled the lever, the reel stopped on 3 bars, prompting the machine to pay out 50 quarters. Over the next 15 minutes, he played 10 more times and won on 8 of those attempts, walking away with a profit of $180. By midnight, after hitting 4 more casinos on Fremont Street, Carmichael had nearly $900 in his pocket, a sum that exceeded what he typically earned in 2 weeks of honest labor. During the drive back to Tulsa, Carmichael made the decision to pursue this new path full-time, but his engineer's mind was already working on how to improve the tools of his new trade. He spent the next 6 months studying slot machines, buying old units from casino auctions to take them apart in his garage and analyze every gear, lever, and sensor to understand the coin and payout mechanisms. He designed a new version of the tool, the Carmichael Slider V2, which was crafted from thinner dental tool steel and bent at a precise 23-degree angle. This improved device allowed for a longer reach to hit deeper mechanisms and reduced the insertion time from 10 seconds to just 3, achieving a 95% success rate in his garage tests. Carmichael also developed a disciplined strategy to avoid detection, which included never hitting the same casino twice in a month, capping winnings at $500 per session, and always acting like a casual tourist who was lucky rather than skilled. By September of 1980, Carmichael returned to Las Vegas alone, as Ray had been arrested in Reno, and proceeded to hit 22 casinos in 5 days, winning over $8,000 before returning home to quit his job. For the next 4 years, he traveled a circuit that included Las Vegas, Reno, Atlantic City, and riverboats, earning between $60,000 and $80,000 a year. However, the casino industry was not static, and by 1985, they began installing second-generation slot machines, equipped with new coin sensors and anti-manipulation shields that rendered the slider ineffective. Rather than retiring, Carmichael purchased one of the new machines and spent 3 weeks disassembling it until he found a vulnerability in the mechanical switch of the coin counter. He realized that if he could trigger the switch manually, the machine would believe coins were being deposited. To exploit this, he invented a tool he called the monkey paw, constructed from a very thin, high-E guitar string attached to a metal rod and bent into a hook. The monkey paw required significant skill to use, as the operator had to insert it through the coin slot, navigate past the safety shields, and hook the mechanical switch blindly, essentially picking a lock in the dark. In October 1985, at the Tropicana in Vegas, Carmichael tested the device, and after a few failed attempts, he successfully triggered the payout mechanism. For the next 2 years, the monkey paw allowed him to defeat 80% of the second-generation machines, boosting his income to $120,000 a year, which allowed him to buy a house and cars while telling his wife he was working as a casino consultant. His streak of success was interrupted on November 12, 1987, at Caesar's Palace, when a security guard noticed him working a machine and confronted him. When ordered to remove his hand from the slot, Carmichael revealed the monkey paw, leading to his arrest for cheating at gambling. Despite his lawyer's argument that the device did not alter the machine's programming, Carmichael was sentenced to time in county jail, serving 10 months before his release in December 1988. Upon his release, Carmichael found that the industry had evolved once again, introducing third-generation machines that utilized electronic optical sensors and light beams to count coins, making mechanical tools like the monkey paw obsolete. Undeterred, Carmichael bought one of the new machines and discovered that the optical sensor counted coins by registering the interruption of a light beam. He hypothesized that if he could blind the sensor with an intense light, the machine would not be able to count the coins being paid out and would continue to release them endlessly. After experimenting with various light sources, he created the light wand, a device consisting of a small battery and a bright LED encased in a thin wire housing with a curved tip. The wand was designed to be inserted into the payout chute rather than the coin slot, where it would shine directly into the optical sensor. The light wand proved to be a revolutionary tool for Carmichael, working on 99% of electronic slot machines when he tested it at Circus in January 1990. By triggering a small win and then activating the wand, he could blind the sensor and turn a minor payout into a continuous stream of quarters, collecting hundreds of dollars in seconds without triggering any error codes. From 1990 to 1996, Carmichael enjoyed his most lucrative years, generating an annual income of $2 to $3 million by hitting casinos across the United States and internationally. He perfected a routine that involved hitting multiple casinos throughout the day, averaging daily winnings of $12,000 to $15,000, while maintaining a low profile by driving normal cars and avoiding extravagant displays of wealth. By 1995, it was estimated that he had stolen $12 million, allowing him to own houses in 3 states and invest in legitimate businesses. However, the scale of his operation eventually generated data anomalies that could not be ignored, and in 1995, an analyst at the Nevada Gaming Control Board noticed that slot machines manufactured between 1989 and 1993 had a payout rate that was 0.3% higher than expected. This seemingly small percentage represented tens of millions of dollars in unexplained losses, prompting a review of surveillance footage that revealed players inserting objects into pay-app chutes. This evidence led to the launch of an FBI investigation codenamed Operation Lightout, which identified Carmichael through cross-referencing surveillance images with known cheaters. Agents tracked his extensive travel to gambling hubs and his large cash deposits, eventually assigning a team to surveil him directly. In October 1996, agents followed Carmichael to the Luxor and observed him using the light wand, capturing the act on camera. They continued to document his activities for several days to build an airtight case before making their move on November 4, 1996, at the Mirage. As Carmichael used the light wand to extract $420 from a machine, he was surrounded by FBI agents and arrested on the casino floor. A search of his person revealed the light wand, and he was subsequently charged with 17 counts of cheating and fraud, facing a potential maximum sentence of 85 years in federal prison. Facing the prospect of losing everything and spending the rest of his life behind bars, Carmichael decided to play his final card. In December 1996, his lawyer approached federal prosecutors with an offer of full cooperation, proposing that Carmichael would surrender all his devices, explain their mechanics, and teach casino security how to detect them in exchange for a reduced sentence. He offered to share the knowledge he had accumulated over 16 years of cheating, covering every vulnerability in machines made between 1980 and 1996. The prosecutors accepted the deal, recognizing the value of preventing future losses, and in January 1997, Carmichael was sentenced to 3 years of probation, community service, a fine, and a permanent ban from Nevada casinos. True to his word, Carmichael delivered 17 different cheating devices to the FBI and spent days educating investigators on their function and detection. The information provided by Carmichael was disseminated to casinos nationwide, leading to a rapid implementation of new anti-cheating measures, including tamper-evident chutes and advanced optical sensors, effectively ending the era of mechanical slot machine cheating. In a twist of irony, Carmichael began a new career in 1998 as a consultant for the very industry he had victimized, charging $5,000 a day to train security teams at casinos like the MGM Grand. He would stand before security personnel, holding the light wand that cost him $12 to make, and explain how he used it to steal millions, teaching them to look for behavioral cues like players reaching for the payout chute or failing to celebrate big wins. Ultimately, the man who had stolen $16 million over 16 years served less than a year in jail and went on to make hundreds of thousands of dollars legally, helping casinos secure their machines against the very methods he had perfected.